Yeah, it's a wet snow. I don't want to drown another camera. So we're back in the truck doing a fishing report so I don't drown an expensive camera. So to start out with, let me get the announcements out of the way really quick. First, let me talk about the spay casting clinic coming up. That'll be the last weekend of August. As many of you probably already heard, we'll run one clinic on Saturday, one clinic on Sunday. They run from about 8 in the morning to 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. By that time, you've had a system overload. Our casting's going to be basically designed for the type of casting you're going to be doing on the Salmon River and the type of fishing you'll be doing on the Salmon River and other Lake Ontario tributaries. So it'll be quite customized to the type of situations that you find yourself in fishing. The other thing is we're going to have 2 instructors to 10 students. So it'll be a 5-to-1 ratio, which works really good. So you get a lot of one-on-one casting instruction. So we'll be looking at a lot of casting with scannies, casting with Skagits, talking about setting the rods up, making those types of systems work. We'll be casting with switch rods, full spay rods. So you get a good mix of everything. So that works really good for you beginners, and you guys have been casting for a while. You got a glitch in your cast. Since we have a really good instructor to student ratio, we can work on that cast with you and get it figured out. So we can customize what you need and so on. But a lot of cast is based on what the conditions you're going to be facing with fishing Lake Ontario tributaries. The cost for the class is going to be $125, and we'll be starting to take, in the end of the month, we'll start taking the advanced bookings. So if you think you can make the class, check your schedule, let us know, send us an email, give us a call, and we'll get you signed up. The other thing is if you're on the Salmon River, you're in the area and you need flies, Pineville does have a good stock of mine and Rick's flies now, so you can stop in there and get the stuff that we're using. So with all that out of the way, what's going on with the fishing? Well, I finally made my move from the western end of Lake Ontario back up to the Salmon River, which is right on time, right on schedule. This is normally when I'll bail off the western tribs and move into the Salmon River watershed. That doesn't mean that the fishing out west is done. It just means it's winding down. So you can have one of those things, you go up one day, you can find a few fish. The next couple of days, you might not. So it's going to be kind of starting to hit and miss. But still, it's worth going out, covering some water, and checking to see if there's some fish there. But it's not going to be as consistent as it has been. So those runs are winding down. As for the Salmon River, things are heating up. I've been up for a few days, and water temperatures, that's 3 days ago, this report, the upper river hit 46 degrees, which is prime peak spawning temperature. Now, with this wet snow, obviously, it's going to cause water temperatures to drop, so we're playing the water temperature game. The nice thing about this wet snow is, in the drop in water temperatures, it's going to drag out the spawn, keep the fish in the river. So that's good. How's the overall fishing been on the salmon up here? It's been pretty decent. And it's been decent from about mid-river, like from the 2A area, all the way up. So it's been pretty consistent. Guys sometimes early morning will struggle under second float. They'll pick some fish up. We've been dragging our feet in the mornings because of the water temperature swings. So sometimes we'll lose anywhere from 2 to 6 degrees depending on what's going on, where you're on the river and so on. And that kind of funks the fish out. But the fishing's been pretty consistent. Now, we got fish everywhere in the river. So they're in the pools. There is a few dropbacks in the pools. There's also some fresh fish in the pools. Also, there's a lot of fish in the on the gravel and what I call transition water, those little deep slots and cuts just off the gravel. So there's fish scattered everywhere. So now you got to cover more of the river and parts of the river than you have been before. So just pool hopping might not be as effective. You're going to want to cover a lot more of the river because the fish are using more of the river right now, a lot more of their habitat. So they're really, even when they're even more spread out within the width of the river. That's typical of spawning time. So that's what's going on up here. The fly patterns, yeah, the fun stuff. We're getting fish on buggers, egg-sucking leeches, small intruders. few big stoneflies. So they're grabbing a variety of stuff right now. So it's just kind of bring all your flies, bring all your cool stuff. All those intruders and classic wet flies we've been tying, yeah, they're working, they're getting fish. So that's kind of the game, what's going on right now. Water temperature is going to be the key. The fish are scattered everywhere from mid-river up and spread through there. Now, for you folks that like to fish the Douglas and salmon run, with these water flows right now, geez, I didn't mention water flows yet. I think it's the dam is claiming they're releasing 750. Pineville gauge is reading a little over 1,000, which would make sense with runoff ground seepage. That would make sense. So I call it a very fat 750. So the water's great. As long as it's consistent right now, that's going to help us more than anything. Water fluctuations can mess stuff up. Right now we want a nice consistent flow. Back to the Douglas and salmon run. It's if you want to get away from the fishing pressure, you want to have some real light fishing pressure, the DSR is a great place to go right now. However, there's never this time of year a lot of fish down there. Those fish that come in are moving, they're heading up, so they're going through that DSR pretty fast. So once again, it's the old adage, cover a lot of water, don't stay in one pool, and just move. And the same rule with the flies down there. Sometimes big and goofy really works because they could have, on a nice sunny day, they're going to have the best water temperature down there. So those fish could really respond to a swinging fly well. So if there's a fish in a run and you make a good presentation, there's a very good chance that fish will eat. So the DSR for this time of year is fishing par for the course. You're going to need to cover a lot of water to find a small handful of fish. But then again, what's nice down there is you might be sharing a place with a half a dozen guys. So it's nice and quiet, and it's pretty pleasurable to be down there fishing. And as for, like I said, the Western New York tribs, they're winding down. Now, another note for you trout fishermen, the bugs are starting to hatch on some sunny days. You might find some early olives, maybe a few blue quills. So start looking at your trout streams in the afternoons, midday. You're going to see your bug activity. The warmest part of the day, sun on the water, you're going to get a few bugs and get some fish going. Obviously, the hatch you're going to see is going to vary from watershed to watershed. For an example, one of the local trout streams that I personally fish, we're really close to having our Hendricksons. We've probably got some blue quills on it right now. And obviously a lot of midges. So it's going to be very watershed dependent. But yeah, even despite the snow and everything else, there is a few bugs starting on a few limited trout streams. So the trout fishing is starting to happen. So that's basically what's going on. We're chasing fish on the salmon. The fishing seems to be pretty decent. You just got to cover some water, find some pods of fish. They're spread out, which is normal this time of year, so don't be surprised if it takes you part of a day to get dialed in and find some jags of fish. But other than that, water temperature is good. We're throwing the fun stuff at them. So see you in the water, folks. Time to fish and see you. This is Jay at JPEG Guides and Lost River Fishing. We are a year-round fly fishing catch and release guide service. We fish the Lake Ontario tributaries, and then during the spring and the summer we also fish the inland trout streams, classic dry fly fishing. During the heat of the summer we will do the warm water fishing for bass and pike. If you're interested in any of our outings or have any questions, please feel free to email us at fish@lostriversfishing.com. Hope to hear from you, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact us.